Hi, this is Pedro. One of the biggest challenges in music creation is keeping your ideas fresh and interesting without starting from scratch every time. For today's tip, I suggest taking your existing chord progression and melody if you have one, and remapping them. This approach balances continuity and surprise, giving your track an emotional shift while maintaining a sense of evolution rather than a restart. That's what this video is about, flipping the mood without losing your original idea and ultimately extending it. Let's start with a 8-bar chord progression in C major, using D Dorian as our home chord. In other words, this will be our 1 chord. And here is our familiar working ground, the idea that's already working well. What I did next was to remap the chord progression and the melody that you just heard to a different scale or mode that brings a fresh color or mood. Remapping means that the melody starts on the same pitch but adapts to the new scale. The same goes for the chords. The only thing that changes is where I choose to start, and all the rest of the chords maintain their relative position. Mind you that I'm not changing the rhythm of the melody itself, nor the harmonic rhythm, although you certainly could change it for added novelty. I'll leave that for you to experiment with. To illustrate this method, let's go through the examples. Although I did, you don't have to change keys to try this approach, so you can pretty much focus on the different modal color that better suits your music's vibe. As a refresher, let's listen to the original chords and melody again. And here is the first variation, by remapping both harmony and melody to the new scale, in this case to A major, to its Ionian mode. This is already a different vibe. Next, I'll be keeping the original remapped melody, but not the chords. I freely reharmonize the melody with chords from this new key, the A major. The next one will show you the result of keeping the remapped chords and create a whole different melody on top of it, so the opposite of the previous example. This time, the chords were remapped to the mode Lydian sharp 2 in F minor harmonic. Hopefully, you noticed the new melody is inspired by the original motif, keeping it connected and familiar. To recap, this was our original chord progression in D Dorian, which was adapted to each new scale while preserving relative chord relationships. These examples show how flexible and rich this remapping technique is for naturally evolving your music based on what you already have. And here's a bonus tip. Since we now have more chord options from an initial idea, try playing them in a different order. In other words, don't stick to what you get in the remapping procedure. Grab a piece of paper, write it down, and experiment with new sequences. If you wish to keep the remapped melody, don't worry, it's going to be just fine. The chords are in that same key, so what could go wrong? Anyway, you can always adjust later. First, here's the example with remapped chords and melody from the original idea. And finally, here it is with the shuffled chords, or played in a different order. If you want to know, in this last example, I remapped the melody to an exotic scale with the pitches C, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, A flat, and B. With this material in your hands, you can now go about harmonizing the scale, figure out the chord possibilities, and then remap your chords accordingly, like we did before. Remapping chord progressions and melodies to new scales isn't just a theory trick. It's a creative strategy that keeps your music dynamic while staying true to your original ideas. There is so much more to explore, like changing the rhythm of the remapped melodies, creating new melodies over remapped chords, exploring new modal colors, exotic scales. It's all up to you. Watch how your compositions open up in new directions, and don't be afraid to change anything you don't like while using this procedure. As with all techniques, they are tools to keep you moving and experimenting, so treat them that way. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more tips and creative ideas on music composition. Thanks for watching, and until next time.